Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I just wanted to do a quick video on the many different masks that we have been wearing consciously or unconsciously, and how we are beginning to recognize these masks and taking them off and becoming more and more of the multidimensional human that we are. So you chose as a higher dimensional consciousness to drop into a physical form. There's no mistake. You're in the physical form because you chose to. Nobody pushed you down here. There's no karmic cycle that forced you to come back. You chose this. There is an aspect of you within the physical form right now that agreed to every single experiment and experience that you've had in this lifetime and any other lifetime in physical form. That is how powerful you are. That is the creator being that you are. Okay, so there's no victimhood in any of this, and there's no I can't do this. That doesn't even make sense. Of course you can do this. You've designed yourself to do this. You chose to do this. That's why you're in physical form. You're in the physical form to do this. Now, it's hard. It's like when you're learning to run a marathon, right? And you signed up for the marathon, you paid the fees, and then you're halfway through training for the marathon and you're like, this is too hard. Nobody told me it was going to be this hard. I don't want to do this anymore. It's too much. I don't even know how I got here. This is ridiculous. I'm not training any longer. It's like, well, you signed up. You knew what you were doing. You can do this. Let's go. You can do this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have signed up, right? It's the same thing with being in a physical form right now. You signed up for it. And you not only did you sign up for it, but you courageously and lovingly wanted to be here. So what we're doing right now is we're getting clearer and clearer on that. We're remembering that more and more. We are suffocated by dense consciousness to the point where it takes a very long time to pull that consciousness off us, to pull the blankets off, to pull the masks off, to pull all of it off, so that we can get more clear, so that we can feel lighter, so that we can have more memories of the moment we dropped into this physical form. Holy shit, I did choose this. Holy cow, I remember the Akashic record. I remember being there in a higher state of consciousness and choosing what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, what I wanted to experience. And so you start to remember that. You're starting to remember pulling and sticking into your briefcase, your Akashic record. Here I go. I'm dropping into form. Look at everything I'm carrying to participate in that duality of consciousness for the sole purpose of assisting Earth and humanity, regardless of whether you are believing that you're assisting right now or not. If you're listening to this video and if you're in a physical form, you're assisting just by being in the physical form. Okay? And so you're having to remember all of this. Here's my little briefcase. Here's all the Akashic records, which is all the trauma and all the pain, all the heartache, all the beautiful love, all the joy moments, all of the masks that you are peeling back, right? All these heavy, dense things and all these beautiful things are right here. All the contracts with humans, they're right here, right? So here you are, and you're beginning to open up that briefcase and looking at it and saying, oh my God, look, why would I choose that? Or why would I choose this trauma, right? And as you start shifting into higher consciousnesses, higher states of consciousness, you have the ability and the knowingness and the power as a creator being to begin to take these pieces of human consciousness and experience and drop them off. Okay, here's my trauma. I am done. Here's self-worth. I am done. Here is lack mentality. I am done. Here is insecurity and fear of success and fear of speaking up and whatever it is that's in here, right? Whatever consciousnesses that are in here, I'm taking them and I'm dropping them off. Thank you so much. I'm taking them off my briefcase and I'm going to drop them into the abyss of all consciousness, so they're no longer in my Akashic record, holding me to it as if it is who I am. It's not who you are. The Akashic record is not who you are. All your experiences are not who you are. All of the masks that have been playing out are not who you are. All your emotions and your thoughts and belief systems are not who you are. All the programming is not who you are. All the paradigms you believe in, they're not who you are. The Akashic record is not who you are. It is your map that allowed you and is allowing you to navigate this consciousness. As you start shifting into higher states of frequency, you start to consciously look and say, wow, no more, no more, no more, no more. And as you start peeling off all that Akashic record, you start to get more aligned. You start to get free. You start to see. You start to love. You start to hold firm boundaries with people. You start to separate from people that are no longer resonating with you, that no longer hold the same vibration and way of being as you, right? You start to understand and see that every human being is just being them. Congratulations, that's awesome. If it doesn't resonate with you, then great. You hold that firm boundary and you continue forward. You don't allow people to pull you back into whatever belief system and paradigm they're in, right? Whatever they're existing in and playing in and participating in. As you start shifting, guess what? You're not going to want to be in that anymore. You're going to have to separate from that, right? And just because you separate from it doesn't mean that you're not still in a unity consciousness, because it's all one. It's all quantum. So you're doing what is best for you. You're holding firm boundaries for you, right? One of the really large consciousnesses or paradigms, programs that a lot of humans have is this need to please and this need to not make other people, not ruffle other people's feathers, right? I mean, there's so many that we can think about and talk about. But what is required of so many of us as we start shifting is very firm boundaries. And perhaps upsetting other humans that aren't coming with you, right? As you start clearing out your Akashic record, you start no longer playing in the programs and paradigms that so many humans are still playing in. And then you ruffle feathers. You upset people. Wait a second, you're not playing in the contract and the back and forth that we're used to. This is what we're used to doing. Why are you not doing this anymore, right? It becomes scratchy between you and that other person. And you're like, well, I opened up my Akashic record, I looked at the briefcase, and I'm deciding and choosing, because I'm a creator being and I'm powerful, that I don't want to experience these anymore. I'm going to drop them off. Just like that. I'm going to drop them off. And as you drop them off, you no longer are playing in the same programs and paradigms as the people that you used to play with. And then you start moving and they start pulling you back. Wait a second, we're supposed to be doing it this way. Why are we not doing it this way? And you have to lovingly say, I'm very sorry, but this is not working for me anymore. My truth doesn't resonate there anymore. And you lovingly do it with no judgment. It just is. And as you start increasing your own vibration, and as you start moving into higher states of consciousness, you recognize that there is no right or wrong. Every perspective is every perspective. Every choice is every choice. Every behavior is just a behavior, right? There's no right or wrong about any of it. It's just you honoring your truth, you honoring where you're standing, you honoring your resonance. And you have to get familiar with how uncomfortable it's going to feel in the beginning, because you're so used to these programs, these paradigms, these contracts, these emotions, thoughts, beliefs, traumas. You're so used to this briefcase, the Akashic record. It's comfortable, but it's not who you are. You're shifting into higher aspects of you which don't exist with this old Akashic record, which was designed to move you through, which was designed to navigate the third dimensional consciousness. And so as you start shifting out of the denser third dimensional realm, you drop a lot of the Akashic record. So a lot of things that you're used to doing drop. A lot of things start dropping off. And there's a lot of experiences that can become uncomfortable, right? You start shifting out of old patterns, the way you used to do things. And so you start shifting out of jobs and relationships and places to live and behaviors, and you start coming back into you. You start remembering your sovereignty. You start bringing everything back to you. You start acting different, talking different, being different. You start understanding your creator being, and you start to create your reality. You start to create what you want. You choose in every now moment, you choose. And you continually honor that which is coming up. You're living quantumly, so you're allowing whatever consciousness to be present in each now moment, regardless of what frequency it's in. So you're not like, oh, I have to be in this denser consciousness because I'm releasing some dense trauma, right? No, you're in all of it. So you're like, I'm a creator being. I'm in a higher frequency, and at the same time, I'm clearing some dense trauma. Great, but I'm seeing it from a higher frequency because I'm also a higher frequency. And I'm choosing to move into the next highest version of me by lovingly allowing this trauma to be released out of me. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong. There's no duality. You're in a neutral space. You're in a quantum field. You're holding both consciousnesses. You're holding both frequencies at the same time. This is what you're learning to do right now. And that's stepping out of the Akashic briefcase, which is a beautiful thing. It's designed to navigate the third dimensional consciousness. But as you start stepping out of it, you're dropping all these things and you're starting to step into these higher realms, but you're not ignoring this, right? As you start stepping into higher realms and higher consciousnesses, you don't ignore that which needs to still be let go. You got to let go of the Akashic record. You got to look at it and let it go. Oh, okay, thank you for showing me. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that core belief I've had for 15 years. Oh, look at that core pattern I've been doing for 25 years. Oh, look at this contract that I've had with this person for 15 years that I'm ready to release, right? All these things that are in the briefcase. There's nothing wrong with any of this, right? Nothing. Nothing wrong with the masks that we're wearing. Nothing. It's just that as you start shifting, you have to look at it from a higher perspective, from this higher frequency that you're vibrating at, and lovingly let it move so that you can continue to increase your frequency and increase your vibration and move into higher states of consciousness. You can't do it if you're ignoring this, right? You can't do it if you're trying to move yourself into heart-centered consciousness and not allowing yourself to feel anger and rage and jealousy and envy and fear and lack and all those things that want to come up. See, what we do as humans sometimes as we're shifting is we think that if we're shifting that we need to be in these spaces, we need to be in these frequencies, we need to hold this, and that's it, right? It's very linear. That's a very linear way of thinking, which is I should only be centered and focused on the heart center. I should only be thinking about unity consciousness. I should only be doing these things, positive thinking. Well, then you're denying the quantum realm, which is showing you there's still density. You're still in third dimension. You still got an Akashic record. You still got patterns and programs that you've got to release at the same time that you're moving into these higher frequencies, feeling that love expand within you for you, right? And starting to understand that there is a massive amount of consciousness all existing at the same time that doesn't hold duality, that is neutral. It's all neutral, right? So you want to look at your every now moment not linearly, like I'm going to only be focused on moving into a higher frequency. You want to start to focus on the quantum realm that you exist in, which is that everything that's popping up is going to be in multiple frequencies, in multiple consciousnesses. And that is design. It's design. That's who you are. That's what we all are. That's what we're in. A bubble of quantumness. So there will be there is moments where you will tap into the higher frequency, moments where you will tap into the lower frequencies, and eventually you will be able to be in both with an observed eye. You're not attached to this and you're not attached to that. It just all is. You're not denying this, you're not denying that. You're not jumping into this or jumping into that. You're just allowing all of it to be in the now moment in this quantum realm. That's a multidimensional being. So when you start to choose, oh, I don't like this. I don't want to clear this. I don't like this pattern in me. I don't like this behavior that I'm doing. I'm going to move into a higher frequency. And if I move into that higher frequency, then that means that I'm not experiencing this, that this is not here, that this has gone somewhere else. That's not true. This has to be cleared out piece by piece through the loving conscious awareness of it, the understanding of it, the clarity of it, and the choice to lovingly take it out and say, you know what, you're no longer serving me. This no longer works for me. Instead of, I don't like this, I'm going to choose to move into a higher frequency. Well, you're turning your back on this. Instead of saying, wow, look at this. I love you. 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 And I love every other human that may be triggering these. There's nothing wrong with any other human that may be triggering these things that I need to look at so that I can see it and say, oh, shit, thanks so much. I need to look at this and clear it. This doesn't serve me anymore. Instead of somebody triggering you, right? This boils up and you're like, oh, I don't like that. Let me apologize for this. Let me stay in this pattern over and over and over again so that I can make sure that these people are okay, right? And that they don't get triggered. So you remain in these patterns and then you try to move yourself into a higher frequency. When what you want to do is you want to look at that trigger that person gives you, right? You want to watch what comes up and then you dive into it and say, I love you. I love you. I love this pattern. I see it. And I no longer want to move it with me as I continue to shift into higher frequencies. And so you look at it and you don't react or respond to it in the way that you have in all your other past now moments. You recognize, oh my God, look at what's being triggered in me. Okay, look, okay, this is a pattern. I do this all the time. I do this all the time. Oh my God, my normal reaction would be this. I don't want to do that anymore. Now, instead of saying I'm going to move into heart-centered consciousness and just be in a love vibration, or try to shift out of it and have positive thinking thoughts, or try to make other people, places, or events and experiences be in in alignment, so that there's no scratchiness between you and that other person, event, or experience. You just look at it and you say, oh, okay, thank you for showing up. Wow, look at what I normally do and what I've done for so many years. Does it resonate? It doesn't resonate with me anymore. Do I want to change this by letting it go? Yes. Do I want to love myself? Do I want to love myself? Yeah, I'm going to love myself. Is it going to upset people? Maybe. Do I love myself enough? Yes, I do. Do I want to break that pattern? Yeah, I do want to break the pattern. Right? And then you start allowing that pattern, that program, to dissolve. So you are looking at it. You're not trying to make anybody or anything else better. You're looking at it as your own program in your Akashic record little suitcase, recognizing how many times and how many years you've done this pattern. And instead of trying to shift out of it and say, well, I'm going to try to shift myself out of it into a higher frequency. That's how I'm going to get rid of it, right? I'm going to get rid of it by shifting myself into a higher frequency. No. That's not how you get rid of it. You get rid of it by loving it and saying, thank you so much. Wow, I see this. You get rid of it by staying in the office with it. You're sitting across the table from it. You don't get up and say, thank you so much. I'm going to go try to clear you by moving into a different office. That's on a different level. It's on a different floor. Well, this is still sitting here saying, well, hello, I'm right here. Can you come back and let's face each other? And can you tell me that you're releasing me? Can you love me? Can you let me go? Can you love me enough to just let me go? And then then it softens and goes. And you have a choice in every now moment to make sure that it doesn't come back, that you don't play in that pattern anymore. So you're consciously aware of this pattern that you just lovingly let go. And you have a choice in every now moment to bring it back up or to continue to let it go by being conscious, by observing yourself every single second, every single now moment. So you don't let it go by saying, oh, I see you. This is a density. I'm going to clear you. And then you go and try to shift into a higher frequency to clear it. It's not how it works. You clear it by sitting with it. You clear it by loving it. You clear it by telling it that this pattern no longer serves you, regardless of how it's going to impact anybody else in your life. That's not your job. Your job when you start shifting into higher states of consciousness is not to make sure that everybody else is okay. Your job as you start shifting into higher states of consciousness is to love yourself. Your job as you start moving into higher states of consciousness is to love yourself. You can't love other people in all of their humanness until you can love yourself in all your humanness. And that means that you love yourself in the densest and darkest places. Because you don't look at somebody that you love deeply, right? Somebody in your life that you love deeply, and you say, oh, I only love you when you're in higher frequencies. I only love you when you're positive. I only love you when this and that, right? We have people in our lives that we unconditionally love, no matter what shows up, no matter what they say. And the way that you are going to start to do that for all of humanity, which is unity consciousness, is to be able to do that for yourself first. You have to be able to unconditionally love yourself first, which means that you have to be able to look at all of this and put yourself first. Love yourself first. Do what's best for you, regardless of how it's going to impact everyone else. And that's the difficulty and challenge of shifting into higher states of consciousness, is that you start to break patterns and programs that have kept you in lower densities in order to please people, in order to make people happy, in order to not rock the boat, right? In order to make sure that, you know, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your partnerships are copious, or whatever that word is, where it's like it's stable, right? You're breaking all that. So you want to get conscious of these programs every day. And you want to ask yourself, am I loving myself? In this decision that I'm about to make, am I loving myself? In this decision that I'm about to do, am I loving myself? In this behavior that I'm about to do, am I loving myself? In this action that I'm taking, am I loving myself? In these words that I'm saying, am I loving myself? Because as we start to clear the Akashic and as we start to move into higher states of consciousness, you're constantly being redirected to how much do you love yourself? Always. Redirected back into how much do I love myself? How much? So as you're rattling the cages, as you're shifting into higher states of consciousness, there are masses amount of humans that are in dense programs and dense paradigms, and you're shifting out of them. And so it's going to rattle a lot of people. It just is. You have to stay strong. You have to stay firm in pulling yourself out of the programs and pulling yourself out of the paradigms. Because most people aren't being in these yet, in these higher states. And you'll start to recognize that they're not as you're shifting. You'll be like, holy crap. Everything gets way clear when you are aligned with your higher self. Everything gets crystal clear. You see everything in a very neutral space. It's all clear. It's like, oh, I see it. I get it. Holy cow, look at what I've been doing. Look at how I've been responding. Look at how I've been acting. Look at these programs. Look at these paradigms. And through that clarity, you make the choice. And through that choice and that loving choice and that lovingness of yourself, it drops and then you keep going with more clarity. So as you align and embody with your higher self, these programs won't work. They won't resonate. People will drop out of your life lovingly or not lovingly, right? You won't be able to play the game the same way. You're playing the game differently. You'll play the game differently, right? You'll be entering into another stage of the game. And you won't be playing in the same speed as you were before. So I hope this message helps in terms of breaking up the programs, breaking up the paradigms, loving yourself more and more and more, really starting to understand as you shift into and evolve into higher states of consciousness what's happening here in the Akashic, what's happening in your briefcase. Get clear, get conscious. Remember, you're going to rattle cages, you're going to upset people, and it's okay. You're going to break old patterns, it's okay. Recognize the patterns, recognize the patterns you're doing. And then remember, you want to love it. Love the pattern. How much do I love myself? I love myself so much that if it hurts somebody else, I have to be okay with that. Because I know that they're shifting, I know that I'm shifting, and that we're all going to be okay, that everything's okay, that everything's a choice, and that everything is designed divinely. And we're all evolving in our own way, in our own speed, in our own design. So remember, this is the game you chose to drop down into. This is the form you chose to drop down into. This is the Akashic record you chose to play in. And right now, in this now moment, As you're listening to this, you are becoming more and more aware of this. You're getting more clear. You're having more aha moments. It's challenging. The more you wake up, the more clear you become, the more challenging it can be in the beginning as you start to learn how to do all this, how to be in this quantum realm. There's no good or bad. Oh, I only want to be in the density. I only want to be in the high frequency. No, you're just in all of it. Whatever comes up in the now moment, you are in. That's it. That's it. You're the observer of all of it. You're the observer of it all. And you get really clear. Holy shit, this is part of my Akashic. Wow, I chose the Akashic. Not only is this part of my Akashic, I chose it. Nobody threw anything into my briefcase. There's no victims. Nothing. And that's very challenging sometimes for people that are going through a really hard time. And I have empathy for you, and I understand. Because when you're going through really challenging times, it is very difficult to look at this and say, I chose this and I put this in my Akashic record. But from a much higher perspective, you did. From a much higher perspective, you did. And if you can settle into that remembrance, if you can remember yourself dropping down, if you can remember yourself standing in this kind of library of consciousness and just starting to pull your map, your designed map to navigate the third dimension, and you were happy and grateful for it all and dropped it into your suitcase and down you went, you would see every experience from that lens. And it would become very easy to let these Akashics go. These consciousnesses that you threw in here go. Oh, this isn't loving myself. Oh, at the end of the day, it's all about, am I loving myself? That's it. Is this loving myself? This judgment, this jealousy, this anger, this rage, is it loving myself? Nope, okay, gotta go. This people pleasing, is it loving myself? Nope, gotta go. This lack mentality, is it loving myself? Nope, okay, gotta go. Right? This letting people walk all over me, is it loving myself? Nope, gotta go. This relationship, is it loving myself? Nope, gotta go, right? You always come back to, am I loving myself? This job that I'm in where people are screaming and yelling at me, is this loving myself? Nope, okay, I'm gonna start to create something new. Thank you. Visualize it. Here it is. Visualize it. And remember that you're in a field of quantumness, which is that everything is accessible. There's no right or wrong about it. It's all accessible and it's all right now. And you can pull anything in. But you don't get attached to it. See, when you start moving into higher states of consciousness, you start evolving, you're not attached to any of it. There's no attachment to anything. So when you're in a really high frequency, you're just in the high frequency. When you're in a low frequency, you're just in the low frequency. There's no attachment to anything. When you're feeling aligned one day, you're feeling aligned. The next, you're not. Okay, that's fine. There's no attachment. When you are living in a quantum field, there's no attachment because it all just is in every now moment. It just depends on what your vibration is at in that now moment. And by judging it or holding something or attaching to something or desiring something, that creates suffering. And that is saying that your vibration is wrong. It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with your vibration, ever. There's nothing wrong with you, ever. There's nothing wrong with what consciousness you're experiencing, ever. There's nothing wrong with how long it takes you to clear something, ever. There's nothing wrong with your programs, your paradigms, your behaviors, your actions, your thoughts. There's nothing wrong with any of it. This is the game. This is what we're in. It's just a game. And we're learning. We're remembering. It's not even learning. We are remembering. So there's nothing wrong with any of it. Nothing wrong with you. You're just trying to remember in this dense, dense, dense cloud of consciousness how this all works. Remind me again, how do I do this? Where's my remote control? Where's my little gadget thing that moves me around? How do I do this? Oh, okay. Here it all is. Here it all is. And wow, look what happens when I start shifting. Look at how it breaks patterns. Look at how it breaks paradigms. And look at how much open I feel and how much more love I feel, how much more expanded I feel, how much more aligned with higher self I am, how much more I get it. And remember that your human form has the ability to do all this with you. And your human form knows what it's doing. And that in those moments where it is really stretching you to stop that pattern, where it is so challenging to drop that pattern, it feels like the biggest stretch. Like, can I do this? Can I break this? Can I stop this? You can. Have compassion for yourself, have love for yourself, observe it, watch it, and however many takes it takes, you'll eventually drop that program. Get acutely aware of the programs. Get acutely aware of the Akashic record. Get acutely aware of your resonance, your energetic field. That's your truth. That's your yes, no, good, bad. That's your radar that's going to say, here's a program, Lori, here's a program. Are you looking at this program? This program doesn't work for you anymore. This program doesn't work for anymore. Why are you doing this program? Why are you doing this program? Why are you doing this program? That's your resonance and your higher self. I love you all so much. I hope this was useful in some way, shape, or form. If anything, a little bit more compassion for yourself, a little bit more clarity on like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember jumping in. I remember the Akashic record. I remember polling. You're doing it. We're all doing it. We're all evolving in consciousness. All of us. It takes a courage, it takes commitment, it takes remembering. You're not alone. You are not alone, my friend. You're not alone. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, hit the little thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my video. I go live again on Tuesday, I think it's the 13th? Tuesday the 13th. I might go live this weekend. And I'll see you so soon. Be gentle with yourselves.